Your community is buzzing, but your Stripe dashboard looks like a graveyard. Free members, they're swarming to get feedback, but you either ghost them or you work for peanuts. Trust me. I've hit 14k followers, 2.2k members, and 1.98k monthly recurring revenue, while churn is at 3.5%. If you watch this video, you will walk away with the 48-hour magic window onboarding blueprint. Why should you listen? Because you don't want to make the onboarding mistake that I made. If you're building alongside me, stick around. This is Built in Public, episode 5. Let's go. Oh my gosh. What? This is such a black mirror. Jeez. Build better recorder. Smiley's Loom note taker. Lennox's Loom note taker. Motion AI note taker. Moose's Loom note taker. Nick's note taker. I'm literally on a call alone with 7 note takers. Hey, Dr. Sam.
Hello. How are you, Lenny?
I am swell, thank you.
Good to know.
Sorry, I'm so bad at multitasking. Have a look at the post I'm just putting in Saints College now, because I felt like it was a bit of a Black Mirror moment.
Okay.
One sec. Okay, I just published it. Take a look at it. Did you see it?
If I saw what?
Did you see that post I just put in Saints College?
Let me update it because I was just changing from my school to yours. I see in the Sunday Post Roast.
Oh, Saints College, not Full.
Okay.
Not Full Circle. Yeah, the other one.
Okay.
It was just a bit of a dystopian moment, and I've been watching the latest season of Black Mirror, and I think it's all on my mind.
I don't think I can sleep after a Black Mirror episode.
Oh gosh, yeah, I don't blame you.
I just found out that many people watch horror movies or CSI series before bed. I wonder why.
Each to their own.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't know. Yeah, this was my post the other day that I got stories from people, like the weirdest sleep hacks that people had to go to bed. Yeah, and that was one of them.
All right.
Yeah.
Look,
all right.
We'll take it.
We'll take it.
Now,
yeah.
Normally I do our little intro, but considering it's just us and 6 note takers, I'll just record an intro for the call once we've wrapped up when it's not live. So we may as well dive in, Dr. Sam. So as we like to start off with, a metrics check-in. Oh, speak of the devil, Brandon has just joined. Hey, Brandon. Let me share my screen. Window. Right. 2 weeks ago, Dr. Sam, your follower count on Threads was at 12,500, and you had 155 members in Sleep Skool and a discovery ranking of 552. Let's start with the Threads follower count. It's been 2 weeks since then. Where are you at as of today with Threads followers?
I have currently 19,000.
Whoa, jeez. You've lapped me. I still had you 2 weeks ago, but you got me. Wow. Okay, so that's 6,500.
Crazy 2 weeks.
3 weeks. I'm speechless. Congratulations.
It's a mix of content and funny things.
And it's not all sunshine and rainbows, because with that amount of attention, it's just a statistical inevitability that you're going to get people who piss you off along the way as well.
That is true. You always get these people who make, mean comments. That's part of the game, I would say. But yeah.
And 2 weeks ago, you had 155 school members. As of today, how many people are in Sleep Skool?
Today in Sleep Skool, we have a little bit more than 500. I woke up with 60 people to meet inside Sleep Skool. So now I have 557.
Whoa. Okay.
And the discovery metric was 339.
All right. To wrap up on the quick metrics portion of this built in public call, 2 weeks ago, Dr. Sam had 12,500 followers. Today, she has 19,000. 2 weeks ago, there were 155 members inside of Sleep Skool. Today, there are 557. 2 weeks ago, the discovery ranking of Sleep Skool was 552. Today, it's 339.
Yeah.
That is an amazing couple of weeks, Dr. Sam. Well
Yes,
done.
it is. And you know what, Lenny, it's a bit about trusting your instinct, because there are some things in the clinical practice that we know that people face. It was bringing content that I know that people wanted to hear.
It's like translating the real life experience into the digital, because fundamentally it's the same people who are interested in solving the same problems, but just on a broader scale.
That's it. The posts that performed the best were about issues that are very common, like the 3 a.m. waking up. It's all about issues that we all have, or feelings that we all have. Obviously, the formatting, putting it in a nice package, the hook that you talk a lot about, that is obviously important. But if you don't have any idea what you're going to be talking about, then the hook doesn't make any sense. You're putting something inside a nice package, but you have to have something good inside.
It's like a sandwich that has rotten meat in it. It can look great from the outside, but if the meat is rotten, then it's never going to be tasty.
But if you have great meat in a nice package, looking very good, then you have the best scenario. That's what I think.
Okay, that's really interesting. Congratulations again.
Thank
Can't
you.
believe those metrics. 400 school members, 150 extra, 300 extra points climbed closer to getting in the top 100 for Sleep Skool at 339 and 6,500 followers in the last 2 weeks. So 2 weeks ago, an action step for you, Dr. Sam, was to try testing out some ways to boost engagement inside of Sleep Skool. And one of those was to do something like a sleep sanctuary, just a way to get people to share something about their evening routine and perhaps some gratitude as well. And then there was also a step to create the pinned post to give people the key information about Sleep Skool so they don't feel lost or overwhelmed when they join. How did you go with either of those two? Did you have any luck in getting them done? Did you notice any results?
So the sleep sanctuary that you mentioned is in my to-do list. What I changed was, let's say, since I got many members because of one or two posts, I knew that they wanted me to address something regarding their issue, like ADHD, for example. So I had to mention something because there were so many people coming because of that thread, and even mentioning when they started Sleep Skool, that I had to mention something about it inside the community, right? Because there were so many of them. So I'm launching polls on content that they want me to do Q&As. I mentioned something about nutrition that I know that is important, and I'm seeing now many moms inside. So it was an interesting post because I got some feedback in DMs about it. I did post something that was not exactly fun, but more motivational, like you have the power, because many people do lack reframing things. For this Easter, since Easter is also resurrection, it means dealing with tough things. I wanted to mention this because I see a lot of people suffering from many issues, and sometimes it's more a matter of reframing things. So it's a little bit of me preparing them for what we're going to talk about. There's no miracle, things like this, right? But because I thought that, let's say I had this feeling from the posts on threads, the comments on threads, the comments inside Sleep Skool, that was a better fit for the moment. But I do think that now with these people onboarding and having their content addressed, I can go back to the other topics that we were mentioning, sleep sanctuary, then having some more fun things. Right? But I thought of doing this onboarding of people because it was quite a lot of people. It was like 2/3 of the people I have now. So I just felt, okay, I need to address them somehow. I cannot leave them waiting for the next Q&A in a week or two.
Yeah, I get it completely. The results show as well, because there was that 200 boost in the ranking, and a lot of that's to do with how many members came in, but also having a scroll through now, and it looks like there's some engagement.
I think I'm learning more about how it works and what kind of content you do. It's really a learning curve. I'm far from perfect, very far from perfect. But yeah, I see a lot of comments. I see many questions. Yeah.
And I just thought of an action item we can discuss more towards the end of the call, which is how we can get more people to post. Because even though a lot of people are engaging beneath your posts, it seems as though there's only 1 or 2 posts from people who aren't you. And that's how we can expand the engagement even more, because once there's a precedent for other people posting, it's easier for me to start doing it as well. So you need other people to lead by example. And we can talk about some ways to do that, because that's the other aspect of engagement, that it creates a bit of a flywheel because of that, like leading by example effect.
Oh, that would be awesome, Lenny. Challenge to come is to get people more active. I feel also, of course, they're coming to a new environment. You don't know how things work. You see some content. So I would assume that they take some time to explore things around. I would think of it if I were a patient, right, from the other side, struggling with something. And then there's this platform. I want to check it out, see how I feel about it, and then start engaging. That's what I would say. Did you have comments on this?
About the onboarding experience?
Yes, that could be it too, the onboarding and then later the engagement, as you mentioned.
Oh, yeah, I absolutely do. Because this is something that I've been thinking about a lot. And I suppose probably a good way to transition into the question that you sent me in DMs earlier today, Dr. Sam, was what was your path to your paid community like, and how do you handle free and paid ones at the same time?
Yeah.
And I thought I'll probably answer some of the questions that you just asked by walking you through this path, because I broke it up into phases, what happened, and the key lesson from each phase. So firstly, Saints College surging, and that was phase 1. Started Saints College 13 months ago, and the free community got so active to the point where 6 to 7 months later, I couldn't fairly help everyone in the community without ignoring others. Like, it basically got too much for me to do for free. And at that point, I just realized it feels like now is the time to monetize. So the key lesson there is that engagement ceiling for yourself is a strong signal to then look into monetizing. And then I thought about, how am I going to bridge that gap between free and paid? And that's where the idea of Saint Circle came to mind, which was a 1-month paid cohort, and it had about 10 creators from Saints College in there, and it was $400. So think of it like an intensive unit at university. In Australia, we can do summer units where you can go and do an entire unit in 2 weeks or a month. That's what Saint Circle was like. What I learnt from doing that whole thing for a month was 2 things. Firstly, pricing. I would have charged less than $400. I would have charged just enough so that it generates buy-in from the people participating. Whatever the lowest amount is for them to take the cohort seriously is what I would do, because it takes all the pressure off you to deliver an exceptional service. So that was the pricing lesson, and then the launch model lesson, which was really valuable, is that launching is hectic. It takes a lot of extra work to what you normally do. And you got to make it all happen before the launch, before the cart closes, because you got to start the cohort at one point and you can't just accept people midway through the cohort, right? So it's full on to just try and make it all happen before the cart closes. And doing the cohort taught me that I don't want to do a cohort again. But that was a really valuable experience. I think it's really important to get a feel for that, but then just to move into a more ongoing monthly recurring revenue vibe later. And that brings me to the next phase, which was insights from that 1 month cohort. It gave me confidence to sell because we got around 10 people to join the cohort, and I'd never gone through that process before. I also got testimonials and feedback. That's the key thing, because you're just hypothesizing what you think is going to be valuable. But until you get that feedback from the members, it's just a hypothesis. The feedback is what actually makes it validated or not. And also, 2 of the people in the cohort ended up joining the team. In that regard, maybe the cohort was too effective because they ended up coming on board. So the key lesson for me, as I noted earlier, it's like it was a really great experience, and I'd recommend everyone following this path do that to bridge the gap between free and paid. But I wouldn't recommend someone do a cohort model consistently because it's a lot of work. There are a couple more phases that get me to like where we're at today, but any questions on those key aspects so far, Dr. Sam?
No, I think you made it clear. If I could just ask you to elaborate a little bit more on how you brought those people from the free to the paid. So why didn't you decide to just charge for the free community that you already had, and why did you create another one?
Yeah, great question, because I'd actually already tested turning Saints College into a paid community this time last year in April when I reached 100 members. It very quickly became clear to me that, like, in terms of the funnel that I always think about in my head, it's threads, Saints College, full circle. Followers, leads, customers. Followers on threads, leads in Saints College, customers in full circle. The moment I changed Saints College from free to paid was the moment I essentially just put a gap in my funnel and only had threads to followers to customers. I didn't have any opportunity to nurture leads. And that is why I decided to do it in a separate community. The exclusivity and the intimacy in a separate group, I've been told it's valuable to the people who are inside of it. And that means that there's also that separate space for the free members in Saints College as well. And then in terms of how I actually got people from Saints College into what was then Saints Circle, I created a one-time payment course inside of Saints College, and that was $400 for the cohort. Once you bought that, the link to the Saints Circle community was there, and then they just go and join it. And that was a free community, but they'd already paid for it inside of Saints College.
Okay.
Essentially, you've got your classroom in Sleep Skool, and you can create a new course and charge for that. You can attach a monetary sum to it. And you could call that Sleep Cohort, for example. And then that could be $100. And then anyone who buys that, once they buy it, behind the paywall is a link to your separate cohort community where you'll host the cohort with those paying members.
Okay. So you basically, okay, so you basically create another, the link to another community.
Yep. And it's free, but again, they've already paid for it. And you can prevent unwanted people from coming in by just having some membership questions in there. That way, you can simply reject people who happen to find the link through other means and haven't paid for it. It worked out pretty well.
And then that's how you started. So these people who joined the Saints College, and then how did you do it? So you offer them, in your case, it was a month of intense writing tips, and then you offered annual plans. Is that it?
Then, so that's actually a good kind of segue into those next couple of phases, because I realized that calling it Saint Circle, I didn't want to have the key man risk of Saints College because it's got my last name in it. I liked that, but it wasn't necessary, and I didn't want to be the value proposition inside the paid thing. I wanted it to be something more than just me. So we changed the name from Saints Circle to Full Circle, and that was Yaz who came up with Full Circle. And then we did a 14-day launch period. It was inspired by OpenAI. They did this thing called 12 days of OpenAI during Christmas. And then we did 14 days of Full Circle at the beginning of the year, starting on January 1. We did that inside of Saints College, and it was mainly fun vibes. On one of the days, I posted a screen recording of it was like a voice mode in ChatGPT that had the voice of Santa. I don't know if you tried that, Dr. Sam, but
no, I don't think so, but I will.
I think it's gone now because it was just a Christmas thing, but I got Santa GPT to read out the pitch for Full Circle and everyone loved it. It was really good. So that was one day. And it was just building awareness around Full Circle with some more kind of pitchy posts sprinkled in between those 14 days. I wouldn't do that once every 3 months because it was a lot of work to do that every day. But because we're only launching this thing once, good. We launched on January 15th, and the promise of Saint Circle was 100 true fans. Feedback we got, it was too vague. Like, true fans, what does that mean? So for Full Circle, we made the key value proposition 10K threads and 1K months. So there's no doubt as to what that means. Like 10,000 followers on threads, $1,000 monthly recurring revenue. And we got that clarity only as a result of running the cohort. In terms of what we did with the members of the cohort, we gave them a founding member discount if they wanted to stay. We had a Notion page with all the links to the content they got from the cohort. About half, or just over half of the people from the cohort, who 2 of them ended up on the team, and then the other half, they ended up staying in and they became founding members. And then the others couldn't make it, whether it was because of price or just wasn't for them, whatever. And that's how it went.
That's amazing. It's so interesting how you built it so fast.
Look who's talking.
But yeah, I'm writing content right now, but you worked on the dynamics of the communities and how you explore things. Okay.
And I'm going to power through some key insights that I think will be helpful in terms of priorities. This is how I think about my to-do list every day.
Okay.
Priority 1, it's Full Circle. They pay. So first, priority 2 is Saints College. They opt in and come into my world. So they're second, but it's free. And then third is Threads, because it's an open social environment and they haven't really opted in to do anything. So that's third. And that's the clearest, simplest way that I think about my priority list on a day-to-day basis. Paying customers, paying threads come first, free threads come next, threads come last. And I think that's a useful framework for anyone who's watching, because we've all got some sort of newsletter or community, whether it's free or paid, that should always come first before threads engagement, for example. Because these people have shown that they care about what you have to offer and have come into your world to get more.
I agree. The first priority for me to write on a weekly basis is school, is Sleep Skool, the value posts, the content for the Q&A calls. That comes first, and then threads. This is priority number 2. Sometimes you're just so busy you cannot handle 2.
And we can talk about repurposing in another episode. I think 2 more key insights before we bring this segment to a close and just talk about an action step for you, Dr. Sam. If I was to describe the difference between what I provide at college versus what I provide in Full Circle in just 2 words, Saints College is information. Full Circle is implementation. So Saints College, courses, posts, now a few templates. Like, objectively speaking, everything you need to grow like crazy on threads is in Saints College for free. There's no greater resource about how to grow on threads than in Saints College. I can say that definitively. Yet, it's obviously not enough.
But it's there. Knowledge is
there. Full Circle is paid, but it has 1% of the information that Saints College has. So there's obviously something else there, and that's the implementation. It's the calls, it's the post roast, it's the group coaching, and it's the intimacy and exclusivity. And that's what makes the difference between free and paid.
Noted. This is something that I'm going to be working. Yeah.
It's just because the information is scalable, but your time isn't. Yeah. Any follow-up questions about that, Dr. Sam? I'll share my Notion page with you. I'll send it to you in Skool DMs later. There's just a summary of everything we've spoken about. Hopefully it makes sense.
At this moment, I am with the free version. I see people who are lost, as I would be also, with some sleep issue. I don't know where to go. So it's interesting that they can navigate through content, but it's true. The content is there. I bring scientific content. I do see sources that are not the most reliable ones over the internet, but there are several researchers, doctors that also produce a lot of content, right? That is reliable content, that is free. But you do get lost when you don't know if that is the one for you, right?
Absolutely. In terms of going full circle, pun intended, to how we could get more people to not only just comment inside of Sleep Skool, but actually post. Honestly, the way that I got people to start posting, it was nothing fancy. I literally just DM'd people and asked them to post. And no one rejected me.
Really?
Yeah. It's like a mental model called Occam's razor. The simplest answer is often the right one. And how that would go is, for example, we were in a comment thread about a post I had put inside of Saints College, and someone said, "Oh, I recently tried this engagement tactic and it got me X amount of engaged followers. And since then, I've met some great people and now I'm getting more leads into my newsletter and I'm just blown away by these results." Then I would take the link to that comment, send it to this person in Skool DMs and be like, maybe it's Dan. In my mind, and I know that everyone inside of Saints College would love to hear this. Would you mind just copy and pasting this comment and turning it into, and just putting like a headline like XYZ and posting it? Because I know this is really valuable, need to see it. And without fail, they always said yes. The key thing there was basically tell them what to post so it doesn't become a task on their to-do list and it's just easy, simple, posted.
I will consider this, writing DMs for people to engage.
And it's not out of the blue. It's always catalyzed by something you might see someone say inside of the comments in school. And that gives you something to work off. You see this comment and you think, oh, other people would like to, this would be a good post. And then you just go and message them and let them know. And it's a nice way of telling the members individually that you value them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay,
So,
I think it's enough homework for
yeah.
now.
Would you be up to DMing one person between now and this time next week?
Oh yeah, I can DM a few. Awesome. We'll start doing this.
There's the homework, DM one person at least to post inside of Sleep Skool between now and this time next week, because as Dr. Sam, we're all about action inside of Full Circle.
Exactly, that's correct. Without action, you get nowhere. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sam. I'm going to transition into the part about Full Circle now and talk about some cool stuff there. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you inside of Full Circle.
Perfect. Thank you. Bye-bye.
See ya. So who have we got left? Let's do a quick shout out. We have the note takers. My gosh. Shout out Brandon. Shout out Chanel. Great to have you. And shout out Richard. Great to have you, Richard. So I wanted to discuss some things that we've tweaked inside of the communities recently and some valuable lessons that anyone listening to this can take away, whether that's growing on threads or building a community or building a newsletter and monetizing. So firstly, a metrics check-in. If you were here at the start with Dr. Sam, her metrics shit all over mine. So I'll just preface that. Don't expect the same, but these metrics are good for me. 2 weeks ago, which was the last Built in Public episode, I was at 13,490 threads followers. And as of today, I'm at 14,039. So 500 in 2 weeks is a good fortnight for me. In Saints College, 2 weeks ago, had 2,141. And as of today, we have 2,208. The discovery ranking for Saints College was 421 2 weeks ago. And today it is at 382. Hey, take the win. It's actually getting up there again, which is nice. 2 weeks ago, we had 35 members. And as of today, we have 38. We've had a couple of members churn. I'll be talking about that in a moment. And there'll be some key insights for you embedded in that. Member growth from 35 to 38 over the last couple of weeks. The discovery ranking. So we were at 600 and now we're at 595. So look, all the numbers are up in or improved. Some of them aren't massive jumps, but a win is a win and we'll take it. But what's actually going on under the hood, what's going on behind the scenes, in terms of what I've tweaked on threads and in Saints College and Full Circle over the last 2 weeks to get those results. 2 weeks ago, I spoke about the onboarding process inside of Full Circle and how it was too convoluted. We got people to fill out a form, and then there was some like wait list as well, and then it was too much. Basically, I deleted all of that on the front end and reintroduced free trials. And surprise, we had about 7 people join, and that did the job. The key thing we wanted was to get more people to start a free trial. And by deleting the steps, more people joined. It's an obvious conclusion when you think about it. Sometimes I just like to do things the hard way. The goal was to simplify entry into Full Circle. That was achieved. We have now got this onboarding process. You need to understand the context of what the onboarding process is now and what we're going to be changing about it. People start a 7-day free trial, which is awesome. But then people are churning, like canceling before their free trial ends. If they're a good fit, obviously that's not ideal. I've been thinking about why that is. And I basically just took all of the boring stuff, filled out this form, and then here's a link to book a call. I took that from the start before you join Full Circle and put it after you join Full Circle. And not enough people even completed the form, let alone completed the form and then actually booked a call. Some people just don't want to hop on a call. So I've been thinking, how do I fix this? And the insight here is the first 48 hours, it needs to be mind-blowing. It needs to be a moment in time. It needs to be so good that you have a wow moment. This is an extreme example, but if you can remember the first time you used ChatGPT, I remember when I did. Maybe let me know in the chat, give me a reaction if you can remember. That was a wow moment for me. I thought, wow, this has changed everything. 3.5 years later, look at where we're at. Crazy. I've been using O3 recently, and I'm blown away with what that model is capable of. That's a different topic, but that is the kind of wow moment we need in the first 48 hours, the 48-hour magic window. If you have a newsletter, this means your welcome email or the lead magnet. If you have a community, it's the experience you provide in that first 48 hours. What we've been doing was shit. Here's a form. Here's a link to book a call. They don't get the value from the call within the first 48 hours because they're not even getting the call in time. So that was a big mistake on our part. What is the solution to this? How do we make the most out of this 48-hour magic window? For 3 words, I'll give you an example of what we're going to be doing to actually implement this. Hopefully that example will help you apply it in your own situation as well. It's big, fast value. Lots of value very quickly. How are we going to do that? Instead of sending the forms and the links and the DMs, it will be just one link to day 1 of the content calendar. It will have one viral post template and then one engagement tactic that accompanies it. Think about a Notion page. I'll have a Loom embedded in there, and it's just me breaking down every step that makes it easy to use this proven viral post template, from the prompts to the editing tweaks, like I'd be doing it on this Loom, to actually posting it. And it's designed so that the member does it with me. And then they hit post, and then I do the engagement tactic while sharing my screen and showing exactly what that looks like. In 10 minutes, it's done. And that's day 1. Now, the hope is that is the big, fast value, not because it's a lot, it's not big in quantity, but in quality. Because in 24 hours' time, they're going to see the metrics. It's going to be much better than what they're used to. That's the wow moment. Now, it's nowhere near the ChatGPT equivalent, but at least it's closer to it than what we were doing before, which was non-existent value for the first 48 hours. Day 2 will be the same as day 1, but 2 templates and 2 engagement techniques. And then we stack those across the first 7 days. How do you replicate this in your business, newsletter, community? Don't underestimate how important the first 48 hours is. What I've realized inside of Saints College, despite it having 2.2K members, not many people are engaged right now because the classroom is a cluster. We're working on that and decluttering it big time. It's just got so much content and it's too overwhelming. Less is more. Think about how you can create that kind of wow moment, the ChatGPT wow moment, in the first 48 hours for the people you're serving. That will create a very powerful memory for them, and it will be very hard for that memory to be overshadowed by something else. the likelihood of them coming back with that one powerful experience afterwards is extremely high. So on that note, my one key action between today and this time next week is to build out that onboarding flow I just described. If I have extra time, because I am moving into my house next week, I will open up a batch of new trials and do some like announcements inside of Saints College to get people inside now that new onboarding flow is created. But at the bare minimum, have that onboarding flow done. Ask yourself, what is that one thing for you? How can you implement that 48-hour magic window for yourself? There is some version of this that applies to you. Think about that, write it down, the creative juices are flowing, and do it this time next week, over the next 7 days. That is how it's the highest leverage thing you can do in your business to generate outsized returns. The first 48 hours are crucial. What more can I say? That is Built in Public, episode 5. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe so you can see me fuck up live next week. Until then, peace and love. Have a great week. See ya.